Okay. Let's go through. Next up, we have Switzerland and Scotland. You want to get Swiss with it, or you want to go Scotland?
Let's go Switzerland.
You want me angry then?
Yeah, let's get angry. Yeah.
I'm gonna get angry, bro. This
What do you
Swiss
have to
team pisses me the fuck off, and I mean that respectfully. For any Swiss people out there, this team pisses me off, bro. The only analogy I can think of is when you go to the club and you see a girl and you can only see her back, but she's got a beautiful figure. She's a work of art, and you're like, oh my God, she's a beauty. And then she turns around and she's got the face of Shaggy Martinez. That's exactly what this Swiss team is, bro. Shaggy Martinez. Because if you were to tell me that I could have a center back pairing of Manuel Akanji and Fabian Schär, bro, I'd be ecstatic, man. I'd be so happy. And then if you were to tell me, well, wait, I can give you a midfield of Freuler, Dennis Zakaria, and Granit Xhaka, all three players who played a pivotal role in carrying their team's midfield to Champions League spots this year, I'd be losing my mind, man. And then you can throw in Shaqiri in there if you want as well as an offensive midfielder. If you like, experienced Shaqiri, a player that we love so much that has been a legend of the Swiss team, I'd be losing my mind, man. I'd be so excited.
No, for sure.
I get angry when I look up top. I get real angry when I look up top, man, because for a long time I thought the next man up for Switzerland, and he might still be that, is Mbolo. And unfortunately, injuries have cursed him.
Yeah, he hasn't played this season.
He played 5 games this season. That was just in the past month for AS Monaco, but he was gone the entire year. Injuries got him. And he was going to be the next guy, honestly. When you look at the Switzerland offensive line, he really did look like one of the best talents. And he still has time, but I'm speaking negatively because the time has arrived, bro. The Euros are here, and I want them to succeed now with the talent that they have behind them. But then you got guys like Stefan, like Vargas, Okafor, Amdouni, looking at the rest of the teams that they're competing against, looking at the other offensive lineups and looking at the lack of chemistry that they have in comparison, I don't think they have enough to compete offensively against the top teams in Europe, especially in this group that's already pretty tough, bro. So for that reason, I get pissed off because I think Switzerland is that close, bro. That close. Man. A couple really good offensive players away from being an elite team in Europe this year. And that pisses me off, man.
I get confused when I look at this Switzerland team because it's basically the reasons that you just labeled out. There's so much quality in this side, but there's definite holes in this side as well. I just get confused, though, because 3 years ago at the Euros, they go to the quarterfinals, and they almost make it to the semis. If you look at that 11 that pulled that off, it's pretty close. Yeah. It's almost the exact same that it is today. So that means we know this crop of players is capable of making a very deep run in this tournament. They also, they beat the reigning world champs at the time in France. Result, man. And it was, they did it in style too. They worked hard for it. You cut to the World Cup that happened a year and a half ago, and dude, they look disinterested. They look like the exact opposite of the team that featured in the Euros a year and a half prior to the World Cup because they couldn't handle Brazil, they could barely handle Serbia, and they got spanked against Portugal, man. It was an embarrassing appearance for Switzerland at the World Cup, and it was the exact same players. So that's why I bring this confusion aspect to the Swiss analysis because I don't know what to expect, man. You already mentioned the true, genuine, world-class quality that is on this pitch for Switzerland, but does it really mean anything? Honestly, I don't know. They had a good qualification to get in here, but I'll be honest, it wasn't anything impressive, especially when you look at the teams that they ended up playing against. So it's just like, all right, has anything really changed for the Switzerland side? I'm actually going to say no. I'm with you. I'm pissed because this team really should be better than what they produce out on the pitch. I think I'm just more frustrated in the sense that they can produce. It's just more often than not, they don't.
And that's why my next question then is, how much blame does Murat Yakin have for this? Because I've seen a lot, bro, from the Swiss folks that I follow, the forums and YouTube comments and Reddit threads. They don't seem to like him. And I wonder how much of a blame he has to, and I wonder how much of a role he plays in and being a big reason for why the Swiss team is just so up and down. I mean, that's pretty crazy, bro. From a managerial perspective, to manage a team like that, I do think some blame has to go to him.
Yeah, I definitely think you could take some of the blame. They don't really play quickly or adventurous, progressive offensive football. There's really an emphasis on just being very balanced, and I think it ultimately ends up being a pretty boring product for Switzerland. And I would be frustrated if I was Swiss too, because there are actually good players, right? Ruben Vargas actually is having probably his best season at club level. And when you watch Switzerland play, every time Granit Xhaka or Remo Freuler get the ball in midfield, he's the first guy they look to. And he's in his prime. He's getting better on one-on-one situations. I actually expect Ruben Vargas to have a really good tournament here. He can go off. He's not much of a scorer, though, and that's the problem for Switzerland. Because when you look at the front line, there is talent, but goals, not really, man. Because like Noah Okafor, for example, he's been the replacement for Brelin Mbolo. He's been good at AC Milan, but he's not... He hasn't scored that much, right? I think he had 11, 12 goals, something like that, which is good. But, you'd hope that you'd have like a guy who's scoring 20 goals or something like that. That'd be really nice. And then if you look at the right wing, it could be Amdouni. He had a breakout season 2 years ago in the Conference League for FC Basel, then got the move this year to Burnley. He's good. He's a hell of a runner, and if you give him an open opportunity in the box, he probably will finish it. But I think the problem with Amdouni is he was at Burnley, right? He didn't get that much opportunities. Yeah. And then Dan Ndoye actually is another player I want to highlight because he's a really good dribble penetrator, and he had a really excellent season in Italy with Bologna. The problem is he's just not much of a goal scorer either. So there is so much talent in the Swiss side, but they just don't create enough, in my opinion. And individually, there's just not a lot of goals.
Did Mbolo get the official call up? Did he get called up?
He did. He got called up. That's where I get
curious, because you look at Real Madrid playing Courtois in a final after missing an entire year.
Yeah.
How much? I mean, but the thing is, that's a goalkeeper. That's a goalkeeping position. It's a little easier to do that, I believe.
Yeah.
Can you put your trust in a guy who's only played 5 games so far, but is ultimately one of your best focal points offensively? I think they're just gonna have to. They're gonna have to take a gamble and do it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
if I play him,
if I'm Yakin, I start Okafor in that first game, see how he plays, and I bring in Mbolo on the 65th, 70th minute. If he looks good, I'm starting Mbolo in the second game. I'm gonna gauge it in that first match.
I think so. I think that's what you got to do, because the offense, to me, as I mentioned, is the weakest part and the part that I'm most questionable about. And it's for that reason that the best I can see for Switzerland, bro, the best I can see is 3rd place in this group with qualification into the round of 16. That's the best I can see for them.
Honestly, I'll match you there. This Swiss team won't be easy to play against for Germany or Hungary, but I just don't see this Swiss team besting these 2 really good opponents. So, yeah, the high side of Switzerland too is actually 3rd place.
Yeah, and